Hello everybody and welcome to Master Race Cars E-Challenge, round 2 of the 2022 season with the E-Challenger mod in Live for Speed. Today we're at SO5 and we've got a bit of a change to the lineup in the box this evening. It is Owen, Harmon and myself, Peter Butcher, in for Tom Jones and Travis Mellinger. Unfortunately, they both couldn't be here today, but they wish they could for the second round. Owen, welcome along. It's the RTFR crew in for Travis and Tom today.
Yeah, thank you, Pete, and happy Sunday afternoon to everybody. We're now getting ready for our second round in E-Challenge.
Yes, we are indeed. And the cars have gone a bit early for the Super Pole session. We've had the qualifying session, the main qualifying session has been off for the actual Super. We've got a car going very sideways into the first corner. So, Owen, we will go through all of the protocol and all of the protocol during the session, and stuff like that. But we have the first cars doing outlaps already on the track, going very wide, trying to warm up the tyres. And interestingly, just before this session, it was declared a wet session. So qualifying will be wet, and therefore the drivers will not be using slick tyres. They'll be using road tyres, and you can see there's a car on screen here going very, very sideways indeed, trying to get those tyres up to temperature.
Yeah, the conditions are going to be a major obstacle for the drivers. They have to obey the wet configuration for this session, and it could throw a lot of spanners into the works, such as our championship leader and reigning champion Vertinen in the Super Pole session. That could possibly keep him away from setting pole position again.
Yeah, this is the SO5X configuration. It's slightly different to the regular SO5. We'll show that just now on the screen because we have a little chicane that you've just seen the car on screen go through. 3.1 kilometers, 1.9 miles. And yeah, with the tiny little chicane at the end to slow the cars down and hard into the wall in the background there. So yeah, Super Pole is one hot lap for each driver, and then at 4 o'clock UTC we will go live 5 o'clock UTC we will go live for the race, 45 minutes plus a lap, and we will add laps on and time on at the end of the session if we have any safety cars or virtual safety cars present in the session. Let's take a look while this lap is going on in the background at the qualifying session that just happened before we went live. It was Nico Pontola who managed to get ahead of Jimmy Vertinen, our current leader in the championship, in P2, only 0.04 of a second separating them. Then it was Vitor Peltakangas, Paolo Motojutis, Kandarich, Mead, Godge and Rosa rounding out the top 10. Lachidi, Jakob, Azar, Williams, Moreira, Hornos, Krompush, Kapal, Saitone, Fernandez rounding out the top 20. A few more results on page 2. We have Henrique, Zanella, Grigorievs, Unsal, Malanovsky, Gudis, Grigorievs, and Fabry. 28 runners, but only 10 in our Super Pole. So, Owen, this lap is about to come to a close, and we see that Carlos Motojutis has put it on the timing tower with a 1:27, so noticeably slower than our main qualifying session, obviously, because these cars are using the road tires.
Yeah, that's certainly the intended effect, to keep the cars on the track as Victor Paolo hits the wall, not once but twice. Has to keep the cars somewhat stable in wet conditions, but at the same time they want to give the impression that they're slowing the cars down a lot. That's proving to be the case. On screen we have one of our Sidus representatives, or not anymore, but yeah, here's Paolo, number 10, slip sliding as hard as he can really to keep the car stable. Big rundown for the final complex of corners here. Just gotta hang that apex before switching to another hard left. The various obstacles in the way, and then down the start finish straight. It's not going to be faster than the pole, is it? No, it's not going to be enough. It's going to be 1:29.13 for Victor Paolo. On track next, it's Pauli Peltakangas for Sidus. So that's a huge name in the world of LFS, but so far, it's a big battle for Sidus to get on top of the podium for this round, isn't it?
Yeah, Superpole is top 6 drivers, not top 10 drivers. My apologies. And yeah, we are watching Pauli Peltikangas now coming around to complete the lap. This looked pretty smooth so far. Paolo decided to clout the wall on the end of his lap. Pauli does have a little bit of damage on this car, so he may have made a few errors on maybe his warm-up, not sure. Out of the final chicane he comes, taps the wall once again for good measure. And as he runs up to the line, we will see where this puts him. Will he be able to crash into the top? Yes, he does. He goes pole provisionally with a 1:26.69. It's quite a long way ahead of Motodutis, so Pauli able to get used to the road tyres a lot better than the two before him. Who's this, Owen? Who have we got on the screen now?
This is Pedro Vitor, representing MRC. He's ready to put in his hot lap now. He's crossing the line to begin. So we'll see what he can compare with the benchmark now at 1:26.69. Oh, that's a hefty bang.
That's a lot of damage on the right side of that car, and that's going to hurt him into the first corner. And yeah, so don't expect this one to be lighting up the timing screens. A lot of right side camber damage already. So again, the drivers that haven't done much preparation on the wet tyre are really going to struggle today, Owen, because I imagine most of them have done the bulk of their practice on the slick. And again, very wide into turn 3. And a very wide line again through the bus stop. So struggling already in qualifying.
Yeah, and I don't know if the other drivers from 7th place downwards were feeling too happy that they've missed out on this almost free practice session. So they'll be entering the race conditions almost in the unknown if they've not been expecting this outcome. So we'll see what else can be done by Vitor. But unfortunately, I don't think he'll be competing for the pole position.
No, and while this lap finishes, let's take a look at the car we're going to be running today and throughout the season. The E-Challenger mod by Michael Malik, who is also the promoter of the championship. It is an all-electric car generating 250 kilowatts, equivalent to 335 brake horsepower, and it's 833 kilos. It's a mod, the mod that inspired the introduction, I guess, of mods into Live for Speed. That was confirmed by the Live for Speed Twitter a few weeks ago, as Vitor goes hard into the wall and to conclude his lap. Next, we have a very green car, Jimmy Vertinen, our current series protagonist, heading into his timed lap. Here comes Jimmy Vertinen from Master Race Car. And he's hit the wall as well. So again, everybody's suffering, Owen, through the first corner under the bridge to try and get used to what these road super tyres feel like on the E-Challenger.
Yeah, the rear downforce, I suppose it's not your conventional spoiler or wing on the back. It almost diverges out into two mini Venturis, I suppose, and it just means for that first corner, when you've not got the dry conditions to deliver those slick conditions for the optimum tires, you can just slide the car and it's just going to cause all kinds of problems if you hit that wall. Vertinen is somewhat able to handle the conditions, but this is the toughest section of the track. Downhill, braking, and he's done a very competent job there, hanging on. And a little tap the wall on the inside, no problem. He's heading into the final complex now, so this is going to be a very competitive time if he can hang on to it.
Yeah, for those just joining, wondering why the cars look a lot more slidey than last week, the reason for that is that the session was declared wet, and drivers are using the road super tyre and not the slick that they've been used to for round 1. Across the line comes Jimmy Vertinen. Will it be pole? We think so, but it's not. It's not enough to beat Pauli Peltikangas. It's not enough by a long way, actually. Only a 1:27.1 for Jimmy. So, Owen, that collision into the first corner really hurt him there.
Yeah, that proved costly. Didn't know exactly where the time was gained and lost, but we can suspect that was the case. But here was the qualifying session table topper, Nico Pontola. Has he been able to scout the other drivers and gain advantage? That's a very slidey entry into the corner. You'll be disappointed with that. If you can cut through the drying line that the other drivers may have left behind, yeah, he might be able to find something from nowhere, but it's going to be a tricky entry now into the bus stop. Yeah, keeping in drifting, drifting slide there. Yeah, no, he's really got the rear acting for him there. Very slide happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's using all the power and he's getting it through. His temperatures are fine. He's just about managed to warm up these road supers in one out lap and one hot lap. This I guess we can call it a gimmick, the wet tire gimmick into the E-Challenges. Not been seen yet. This is the first session that we've seen it, and so far I'm enjoying it. It's definitely shaking up the order. It's Pauli Peltokangas leading this session ahead of Jimmy Virtanen, but as Nico Pantola, the Flying Finn, comes into the final chicane on this South City layout, let's see what he can manage. Clean so far. He has avoided most of the Armco. It looked clean, Owen, but was it fast? We will find out in a second. It was fast, a 26.61, and that is 0.08 of a second quicker than Pauli Peltokangas. And that is our qualifying session over. Our Super Pole results are in, and they are as follows. We have Nico Pantola, who took the lead in the main qualifying session, will start the race from pole position. On the first row alongside him will be his fellow countryman and teammate Pauli Peltokangas. Jimmy Virtanen will line up on the second row next to Carolus Motojutis. Then we've got Paolo and Vittel on row 3. That was a great session, and the first time we saw the Road Super Tyre in use on the Challenger. Owen, we're in for a heck of a race.
Definitely, yeah. We can see those top 6 got the chance to run on the wet surface for the first time. But yeah, Team Sidus have 2 of their representatives on the front row. That is definitely the target for them. And that keeps our championship leader blocked off in 3rd place. So anything could happen.
Anything could happen indeed. And let's have a look at how the championship standings currently are before we headed into this round. Jimmy Virtanen in the lead with 25 points for Master Race Car. Then it's Gabor Gür in P2. Nico Pantola, who's taken pole here today, in P3. David Godge in P4. Elder Kandrich, P5. Pablo Saitone, P6. Breno Almeida in P7. Joint on points, in fact, or not here, with Jared Mead in P8, I guess. Pedro Vitor, P9, and Ramon Hornos in P10. Adam Brown for Sim Broadcast in P11. Those were the only drivers who managed to finish and therefore classify with points, Owen. But there were a lot more cars in the race last time out. We had pretty much a full grid, and yeah, so many of them didn't manage to finish because of the safety car and the virtual safety car that we had during the race, which extended the race distance, and some of the drivers just didn't account for that as well as they possibly could. And to be fair, they didn't have much chance to learn how to properly use the regen feature that had been added to Live for Speed. So yeah, not only do we have electric cars, we also have electric cars with regen in Live for Speed now, which is very exciting. Over in the Teams Championship, we have Master Race Car leading the way with 37 points ahead of Team Sidus, Road Appraiser Racing Team in 3rd, Savage Sim Sports 4th, Born to Race 5th, and Sim Broadcasts in 6th. Let's see if any other teams can join them on the scoreboard after this round. There are plenty of teams in attendance. We just need to see them register some points, Owen. Plenty of opportunities for that. We have 12 minutes before the race start. We do not know what that session is going to be declared as. It could continue to be a wet session. We will wait and see. Will it be dry? Will it be wet? We don't know. What will the drivers be wanting? I imagine they'll all be wanting a dry race, because judging by that session, everybody else who wasn't out there on wet tyres is going to be watching it and thinking, oh goodness me, how are we going to deal with this race? Owen, what do you reckon?
It would be fantastic if the track dried out within this intermission, but I'd say some of the drivers who qualified in the middle of the pack in the ordinary qualifying session day probably would want the wet race. It might give them that little bit of equal opportunity to gain positions and maybe even compete for the win. But yeah, as you made the point earlier, Pete, the energy regen, the drivers will hopefully be more familiar with that feature and avoid running out of juice towards the end. Yeah, it just means anything could happen. Like, it's a wide open contest if it is declared wet. But as we saw, those top 6 drivers I still think they have a lot to give, regardless of the conditions.
We have just heard in our ears, rather excitingly, that the
Session
race
has been declared a wet
wet.
race. The race session has been declared a wet race.
And that was Jonathan Palmer saying it at exactly the same time as me in our ears. Jonathan Palmer confirming there that it is a wet race. Excellent. Owen, this is going to be spicy. I wonder what the thoughts of the drivers are now, having just watched our top 6 squirrel their way around. I think it's fair to say the SO5 combo we have today.
Yeah, if they spotted something that the other drivers had to learn on the fly, they can apply that to their own race. But yeah, I do think the first corner is going to say a lot about what's going to happen today. It's the fact that it dips and it rises again so suddenly, and these cars with this extremely high torque with the electric power, it means that they could slide loose and collect someone else that was doing their own thing, and that will filter down the track. Yeah, if we do have safety cars, Tom loves to make that prediction. That pretty much seals the deal that the drivers really will have to conserve their energy all the way to the end.
Yeah, Tom Jones not here this week, and that's a shame because he really was good at predicting when the safety cars were going to come out and what that meant for our race. We hope Tom gets well soon. He's a little bit under the weather today and wasn't able to get his voice ready in time, unfortunately. So thank you, Owen, for stepping in and filling his large shoes. And yeah, let's see what today has in store for us. We have a 45-minute plus 1 lap race. Of course, that can get extended if there are any safety car or VSC periods. The drivers are currently in their briefing, and we're going to take a quick break here, and we will be back in time for the grid presentation, where Michael Mallock will drive up the grid and we will introduce each of our competitors today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment's time. Hello and welcome back to the main event. Master Race Cars E-Challenge 2022 season kicks off with round number 2 this evening with the E-Challenger mod at Southwest City. We've had qualifying, we've had Super Pole, we know who our pole sitter is, we know it's been declared a wet race. I'm Peter Butcher. I'm joined in the commentary box by Eoin Harmon, stepping in for Tom Jones and Travis Mellinger this week. Eoin, we're about to get going for our presentation, which I believe you're going to lead. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, this is quite an experience to now be in the commentary booth for this compared to when I watched it back 2 weeks ago. This crucial juncture in the championship with 1 round to go. After this, it means that if a driver who succeeded in round 1 has another brilliant day, then their championship bid will skyrocket up to the top, and it will just need one last gutsy performance to seal the deal.
So, if you didn't catch in my intro, yes, I did say it's going to be a wet race, and that means the drivers are not using slick tyres, they're using road supers, and that means they'll have less grip. And as we saw in our Super Pole shootout, the top 6 were struggling quite a lot to keep the car out of the barriers. We also heard drivers frantically chatting and deciding, oh goodness me, how much fuel should I use? What setup should I use? So the level of preparation from some of our drivers has not been as good maybe as it should have been on the wet tyres. We didn't know whether we were going to get wet sessions this week or for round 3, but it is today, and the drivers are going to have to deal with it. That is as simple as that. So we're going to have 45 minutes plus a lap of wet running here at SO5, a custom configuration, because we've got an extra little chicane at the final corner. We are running a little bit behind. The grid is now set, and we have a session. Let's head to the track, Eoin, and do the grid presentation.
So without further ado, our formal grid presentation will now occur. Just a few moments. We will be ready to go.
Yeah, we'll wait for the lights, and then our grid presentation car will drive up the grid in what has become quite a novel way to do the grid presentation for E-Challenge. Eoin, enjoy. Take away.
Our safety car goes away, and here we go. On pole position to the right, it's Nico Pantola driving number 87. On his left, or his right, but our left, it's Pauli Paltakangas, his teammate for Team Sidus, driving number 13. On the second row, we begin with Jimmy Vertinen, the reigning champion. And fourth position was earned by Carlos Motagitas in the number 34. Next up, we have Victor Paulo in the number 10. And then alongside, it's Pedro Vitor, MRC driver there, number 51. Next up, it's Jared Mead for Savage Sim Sports in the number 98, followed by Dawid Gotch in the number 64. Followed by it's Lucas Rosa in the 19 and Lorenzo Lucidi in the 18. Followed by Jeff and Jacob in the 27. And then we have Azar, Imran Azar in the number 15 there. Isaac Williams driving independently in the number 52 is next. Next we have Guilherme Moreira, followed by Ramon Hornos for Born to Race. And number 96, Ronnie Krompush is next. Next up it's Martin Capal, number 46. Vacant space left behind there, but should be for Pablo Saitone in the number 3. And then number 9 is David Fernandez. In number 20, it is Murilo Henrique. And another vacant space, which should have gone to number 47, Jeremiah Sanella. But we do see number 77, that is Alexis Grigorgievs. And number 6 is Hassan Talha Unsal, followed by Mateusz Malinowski in the number 31. Near the back now, we have number 41, Wolfgang Gudish. And then the final row, we have number 63, Olgegs Grigorgievs. And Guilherme Fabry in the number 4 rounds up the grid.
Very nicely done, Eoin. Thank you very much. So now we'll start from the pit lane. We've got some cars in the pit lane just about here. And we're going to get going now for our race. I cannot wait for this. Eoin, thank you very much for that rundown. as we have some lights out and the cars will now begin their reconnaissance lap.
So the drivers are allowed to move up a space where there was an empty grid slot. So we're just waiting for the go signal from our course cars.
Yeah, we wait patiently here for the start of the racing action. Nico Pantola alongside Pauli Peltikangas on the front row, and we have some lights, and we are going to get ready for our race here. 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5 lights. Here we go. It's a long wait, and we are green, and the E-Challenge begins in silence and tyre squeal. A good start from the cars at the front, but further down there was some tardy starts.
Jeff Jacob is in the background getting hit into the railway. That could cause a lot of problems. Yeah, I think they're okay. That's not too bad actually. It might have just been a lag contact actually.
Yeah, we've had some cars with pretty poor starts. It has to be said. Some cars in the air we saw in the back of shot. So some slower starts, meaning that some cars just were struggling to get away. And there's movement down the field. We've got who's that? That's Godge making up a place on Rosa and Vitor, I believe. But Nico Pantola and Pauli Peltikangas got away well. Jimmy Vertinen now mounting a charge on Pauli Peltikangas as they head up the hill. And yeah, Eoin, it's all going off because these guys at the front, they've had more experience and more time to get up to speed with the road tyres in this session, and that gap already opening to Carolus Motodutis.
Yeah, it's a significant advantage, but it's something I spotted down the very back. Number 4, Fabry, has severely damaged front suspension, and if the drivers catch him before he can get to the pits, then I would see the yellow flags and maybe a virtual safety car come out to help him get back to the pits.
Yeah, it doesn't help that we've also got a 43 km/h tailwind on the pit straight. That's a huge amount of wind that these guys have also got to deal with. So they've got everything thrown at them and the kitchen sink for this race. As we head into the chicane for the first time of asking, we're watching Hornos here exiting, getting a bit of a wiggle, and that's going to leave him under pressure from Williams, who tries to squeeze it on the inside, coming up to start finish to end lap 1, side by side as they head into turn 1. That's a risky one being on the inside. We've seen cars wash very wide here into the wall, and Williams just strokes the wall there. Gentle tap. Fastest lap so far for Nico Pantola as he heads around to start lap 2. He has Jimmy Vertinen just behind him here, and it looks like Martin Kapal, who is all the way down in 21st at the moment, is having a look on Grigoriev's. Or he's got Grigoriev's, and he's now to the back of Henrique.
Yeah, Henrique will be trying to defend that position as best he can. There could be distractions in front of him that could be his downfall, actually. But we return now to the number 1, Jimmy Vertinen, pushing Pantola as best he can.
Yeah, saving already. You can hear the power is not all the way down. That was some lifting and coasting, extreme lifting and coasting. Of course, we do have the charge bars on our overlays, but they're only going to come into effect around about halfway to keep up the suspense. We've got a car with a mechanical black flag already. The number 4 for Fabry being asked to come into the pit lane this lap for repairs. So the number 4, which is currently, I believe, all the way at the back in P26 with trouble. So that car being ordered into the pit lane. We ride on board still with Jimmy Vertinen chasing Nico Pantola. And yeah, I'm amazed, Eoin. Even on the road super tyre, the less grippy tyre here, you can hear Jimmy Vertinen lifting, not putting all the power down on the straight, not at all. And Pauli just sitting in behind.
Pauli will surely notice this, and he's gone for the inside line. Is there a bit of a blocking, double formation here? Pantola slows down and allows his teammate to take the lead, or is that a team plot?
I have no idea, but whatever's happening, there's a lot of saving going on, and that means that our top 4 are all bunched up. Here's Carolus Motodutis now joining the party. So these guys, they've driven one lap with pretty much full pelt to see kind of, okay, how much energy are we using with these tires in this session? What's happening? What do we need to do? And they've realised probably that they need to save a lot more than they are doing. And it's only lap one. We've got 41 minutes of this race plus a lap to go at least. And already we are scratching our heads here, wondering what on earth is going to happen in this race. 26 cars still in it, and it is now David Godge lining up Paolo with the fastest lap. And he's made that move.
Yeah, it seems like there was more lifting and coasting from Paolo there, and allowed Gotch a simple move on the outside, which then turned into the hairpin right. So I do think there's a strategy here. The drivers are maybe assuming something had happened at the back of the grid, and they were deciding to lift and coast a bit early.
Oh, contact there between that was Motojutis and Vertinen. So Motojutis now been backed up into Jared Mead. Jared Mead in P5 currently. The Savage Swim Sports driver might go for a move here. He might be tempted, or he might want to follow. Warnos has spun at the chicane. That will have caused some drama, I'm sure. He's going to reverse. He's going to be careful. That's Martin Capal going through. So he's lost a lot of places, and luckily he was able to keep going, and we avoid an early safety car so far. Peltikangas leads then after Nico Patola essentially let him through at the first corner on the previous lap because Nico was saving a little bit more. Of course, that does mean, Owen, that Pauli does not have any slipstream now and is punching a hole in the air for everybody behind. Jimmy Vertinen doing basically what he was doing last time out behind Sean Lee by following and not wanting to make any of his charge up front just yet.
Yeah, it seems like being at the head of the queue is the worst thing that could happen so early on, unless, in this case, Nico Patola is willing to support his teammate and let him energy save on top of his own energy saving. But it's just this tricky, complex corners coming up. It won't allow for much side-by-side running. We've got Azar. Oh, that's a big slide.
It is.
And that forced Isaac Williams wide, so that's a pass as far as I'm concerned. No problems there.
Yep, that pass was made pretty early. I'm really amazed. I'm surprised at how early on the straight these guys are lifting. I mean, yeah, there we are again. Pauli just deciding that's enough power. He's just going to coast it through turn one. He'll get on the power slightly once again to bring him up to turn two, and that's it. That's all they're using. They're not using a lot at all. So yeah, when we hit the 50% mark of the race, we will take a look at those charge bars and see just what they are doing, and whether they have conserved enough, whether the guys up front have conserved enough to finish. Of course, the big story from round one was the lack of finishers. Only 11 of them classified as actual finishers. The rest were some way off the lead and parked up, littered around the track. Zanella has timed out. He's gone. And we're now watching Jared Mead, who has made it past David Godge. And these two are chasing after Karas Motojutis, who's sitting in P4 comfortably. And it looks like there's going to be another move here. These two are burning each other's energy, having a bit of a battle, and that is Godge back ahead.
Sensible enough behavior from the drivers there. But they do have to get thinking about the energy conservation. I'm going to be saying that a lot today. But we return now to our top three battle. Patola trying to shield his position away from Vertinen now. Imran Azar against Jeff and Jacob. That's another success for Azar, making a great first third of the race for himself.
Yeah, he's absolutely charging through the field. No pun intended.
Yeah, so fantastic start for Azar, able to overtake, and he's still readying another move against Rosa. That will be for 10th place. Is it Jeff and Jacob now? I'm not sure who that was lagging out.
It was Rosa we were on board with. It was a bit of a blip, but here we are. We have Imran Azar in the red Master Race Car machine trying to get past in the background. There he is, the number 15. He is really going for it. He's passed a lot of cars. The car just entering the back of shot there was the car he was battling with a lap ago. So he really thinks he has enough energy to just make some positions, and this will be the move for the top 10 if he can pull it off on this lap. See what he does up the hill here. Really difficult to follow a car, especially when you've not got that much downforce and not that much mechanical grip either with these road super tyres. All these guys have been used to blasting this thing around at full pelt on slicks, and he's going for the inside for the hairpin, and sure enough, that is the move done.
Oh, Jeff and Jacob had a look to see if he could gain on Lucas Rosa as well, but it wasn't to be. Just didn't have the traction on the exit. So maybe Rosa will take an opportunity to slow down, where overtaking is very difficult, and he can then begin another lap. It is now lap 7 for the race leaders. They're just going as hard as they can without overdoing it. Pauli's lead is nearly a second, but it's certainly Jimmy Vertonen providing Sidus that tactical headache. He prevents them from having it all their own way, and I'm absolutely in favour of that. It's great to see 3 drivers competing for the win now.
It absolutely is. I'd say that it's still 24 drivers competing for the win here. Anything can happen as Jimmy scrapes the barrier on the exit of the bus stop chicane. Up the hill he goes, and we have some battles going on further on between Martin Kapal and Unzal. Martin trying to go around the outside, or rather Unzal on the inside, and that is Martin Kapal who has made that move. Now up to P17 for him. Or rather P16 now, sorry.
Murillo Henrique is also in range. Unfortunately, that inside line was blocked. There's no way through. And Hornios as well, who had that earlier spin, is able to have a look as well, see if he can gain some places back.
Godge on Motojutis. Godge is on the inside here. Motojutis driving that slightly pink and black car, going side by side actually into, and Motojutis has managed to keep the car ahead. That was quite good as they head into the chicane. Will Godge fancy a counter move? He will have to keep his eyes on his mirrors as well, because that is Vitor just behind. They come around to complete yet another lap of SO5X.
Yeah, I think Jared's best bet is just to hang back a little bit and then regain during those mid corners. They're fairly fast. Before that braking, we can get some energy back for the hairpin. So yeah, we're on board now with Jared, able to follow what goes on. A bad enough exit there for Motojitis, but it's okay. Here's Isaac Williams again. He is through against Rosa. That is an overtake for position.
Rosa goes into the wall.
Point entirely, and Jeff and Jacob had to slam on the brakes, or maybe catch his slide just in the nick of time, and they're going neck and neck into the bus stop. But Rosa, I think, is able to. Yeah, I thought it was a little too safe, but he's actually pulled the rug underneath Jacob's feet there, and he defends his position. Big slide there.
That's David Godge going very, very sideways. He's managed to get it past Motojutis again. He did it on the hill, and coming down, he just missed his brakes a little bit, and those road supers just didn't give him enough grip. Motojutis, will he go for a return? We like seeing cars go this aggressively at the beginning, but we also like cars finishing the race. So it's a fine balancing act in the E-Challenge, and we saw it all too often last week. Cars running out of road. We've got a black flag on the screen. Car 9 has the incorrect restriction. Now, who is that?
That's David Fernandez, Pete.
David Fernandez. He's currently at the back, but yeah, he has not got any restriction on his car. Of course, the cars have to use 20% restriction for the race. They're untethered for qualifying, but they're limited to 200 kilowatts of energy in the race.
So that will leave us with 23 runners remaining. That's a shame. That setup was wrong, but yeah, that's an instant black flag. We can't have inconsistent performances across the board. It has to be the same.
Martin Kapal side by side with Henrique, and Henrique, he is making a move as well on Malinovsky as we go into. Oh goodness me, we've got 2x2 going into the infield of SO5, and Henrique, he's made some great progress there. 2 cars. As Malinovsky gets a bit sideways ahead of Martin Kapal. Martin Kapal will lose a place to Hornos. So Hornos is through on 2 of them. It is like watching ice skating here. The car's really struggling for mechanical grip. with through the slow corners. They have no downforce and no grip.
Yeah, that's Malinowski just throwing his Challenger around the place. It's as if the rear tires are doing the steering for him. Yeah, that's completely all over the place, and I hope he can keep that. He can find out what the problem is with that setup. It could be his rear right tire. His rear right tire is extremely hot. That's what it is. He's delivered extreme heat to the rear right tire. He can hardly control it with that overheating, to be honest.
We're back on with Jimmy Vertinen because it's closed up at the front. The top three within a second now. Pauli Peltokangas deciding that he isn't having much fun leading this race and is letting Nico Pintola close back in. Now, is this tactical, or is this genuinely Pauli Peltokangas struggling a little bit with his E-Challenger? Does he want to give Nico that slipstream so that he can challenge for the lead? Oh, it's tricky to decide, but what we know is happening is Jimmy is gaining massively from having the double toe of the cars ahead. Jimmy lifts massively and then closes up on the brakes to the two ahead of him. Now, Jimmy can't afford to let the Sidus cars get too much of a gap, because as soon as there's too much of a gap, he doesn't gain anything from the slipstream, and he'll have to do all of the hard work himself. But here you can see he lifts off again, does some regen, and then gets on the brakes for the chicane.
Pauli got close to that blue wall on the outside, and he may be letting his teammate through this time around. No, he's actually decided Nico doesn't want the lead. So there must be something in those mighty minds of Team Sidus. Fastest lap achieved by Jimmy Vertinen yet again. So there is definitely something going on. Nico had a prime opportunity to go side by side into the first corner, but with these wet conditions as they are, may be worth just to keep up this follow job.
Indeed. It's amazing to see that the top three have pulled out a gap of 10 seconds and they're still setting the fastest lap, which was taken away by Karolis Motojutis, the number 34, which is the car leading this three-car battle. This is David Godj, the Polish driver from Master Race Car we're currently watching, the number 64. Malinowski's done a spin, apparently, further back, and that is going to cause some drama and a headache, probably, for the cars around there. We're hearing that car 31, which is Malinowski, has a very, very toasted tyre. Race Control came in our ear and told us that, and that is the result. Into the wall,
yeah.
Big accident, and yeah, you can see the smoke pouring off that tyre, and we're going to see some drama here shortly. That car needs to come into the pit lane. It will probably get a meatball flag or something from Race Control soon.
Yeah, he had a few opportunities to look at the pit lane and decide to use it, but he just wants to carry on. So yeah, might need intervention from the stewards to make sure the car is able to be serviced safely. Fastest lap goes to Pauli Peltokangas this time around. We've now got Azar, who's doing a fabulous job now against Paolo. So that's a position earned against Victor Paolo. So nicely played from Azar, doing a massive job here, gaining a lot of positions.
Yeah, the thing you could see coming off that tyre was that the amount of wind we've got here still playing an effect. The amount of smoke coming off it was just being whipped straight off the circuit because of the strength of the wind. David Godj has been in the wall, and that has allowed Jared Mead to get past. We'll get confirmation of that position change at the sector time, which is here. P5 then for Jared, number 98 for Savage Sim Sports. But for how long? David Godj is a dab hand at the E-Challenger. In fact, he's very, very good at it. And these guys competing for a nice, healthy top 10 finish at this rate if they can keep their charge in the blue.
Yeah, that is the dilemma. You've got to make sure you reach the end of the race. And you're going to do it as quickly as possible. But as we can still see, the top three just cannot find the opportunities that they want. Pauli can't break away. Nico is playing defender, and Jimmy is just trying to find the space he needs to overtake while still keeping that energy nice and fresh. Yeah, it's just a headache that has to be dealt with one way or the other. But these drivers are so gifted that they're able to keep going even when they have to play maths in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's a patient game. Now we do know that some of the drivers and some of the teams do have what we call spotters. We've got people watching the drivers, possibly from the live stream, to work out what is the best strategy and how. Oh, we've got a
Oh
car!
no!
Oh goodness me!
Malinovsky
That was
right in
Malinovsky. Yeah,
between.
that
Is
car
that
needs some
Burton?
sort of absolutely. There were yellow flags on the track, so these drivers would have known, and the drivers have been informed by race control too that car was stationary. But yeah, it was in a very awkward position. I can't really blame the drivers for that one. But yeah, that shook us up, and oh goodness me, as Nico goes into the wall hard, and that's going to let Jimmy decide if he wants this position or not, because he can't let Pauli run away.
It's now or never for Jimmy. The outside line, you can favour the drivers with that the little bit of a crest on the outside at Banks to give him an opportunity, and he's through. Well done.
He's through. Jimmy has decided enough's enough following Nico. He's going to get through and chase after Pauli Peltikangas. Yeah, Jimmy can't afford to be too patient in this race because at the end of the day, you still need track position, even if you've got the charge. We saw it last time. There were drivers way down the order who had plenty of charge, but they did not have their track position to make use of that charge at the end of the race. As Malinovsky comes into the pit lane, and is he pulling up into the sin bin? I'm not sure he got a penalty, but there we are. He'll have to pull up into a pit box if he wants to repair that damage. There he goes, and the car pops back into the shape that it was at the beginning of the race as Pauli taps the wall.
Yeah, so that's Malinovsky able to get back onto hopefully competitive pace, even though he'd be way behind the rest.
We are 24 and a half minutes to go before we get our final lap of the race here at round 2 of Master Race Cars E-Challenge in Live for Speed. We are approaching halfway through the race, and that means we are close to seeing how well the various drivers have managed their energy. We like this part of the race, don't we, Eoin?
Yeah, this is the really intriguing part of the race, even if it seems like things are predictable. They might not be, so energy consumption across the board looks very impressive here. Yeah, they all seem to be within their required range at the halfway point. Azar, brilliant job there at 60% capacity. Lucidi there in 11th. That's a little bit lower than average, so you may need to start lifting and coasting just a little bit.
Yeah, our smoky friend, Mr. Malinovsky in the pit lane, he's in trouble for finishing the race. He's less than half of his charge left. The rest of the drivers, they can afford to push. I'm a little bit confused why the likes of our top 3 runners, Mr. Peltikangas, Vertinen and Pantola, are saving so much. It's possible we aren't quite halfway, but there we are, 57% or 56.5 for Pauli.
Oh, Pauli's
runs wide. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was at the the bus lane of the bus stop. Not where he wants to be necessarily. So Jimmy Vertinen has had a dramatic last 5 minutes or so, and it could get even better.
Yeah, we will resume our charge update later on and see how everyone's going on. But for now, it doesn't look as though our front runners are doing any more. Well, they're not doing any less energy saving than they were before. But Jimmy Vertinen now has certainly woken up, and he is becoming a little bit more aggressive. He's pulling out of the slipstream. He doesn't even care about slipstream anymore. He's letting Pauli Peltikangas know that I'm here. I'm going to win.
That's exactly, yeah. It can play enormous tricks on the mind when you think, I'm in the lead, I can carry on this form lap after lap. But when you've got the opponent running after you, can really make the difference. And it's up to you to make sure you hang on to that lead that you have.
Yeah, the lead is important, and we are seeing already that we have back markers coming into play here. We have some back markers already been jumping out of the way on camera for Pauli and Jimmy and Nico. And it is almost a 20-second gap back to 5th, but Karadis Motodutis is now starting to think about bridging that gap. He's 13 seconds off the lead, and will we see Karadis Motodutis up the front? Well, we will certainly if there is a safety car, but no sniff of any safety cars yet, Eoin.
No, that is certainly a surprise. We've been on green flag running the whole way through. But obviously there were sector there were sectors which had yellow flags, and drivers had to avoid a spin or a stationary car. But as of right now, no one has been involved in an accident requiring a safety car or a virtual safety car.
Indeed. These guys are playing chess at the front, and let's have a look at elsewhere. Carolus Montejutis driving for Last Lap Motorsports. He is in kind of a world of his own at the moment. He's 5 seconds ahead of David Godge and some 13 seconds behind Nico Pantola. So he needs to decide what he wants to do in this race. He's got enough charge to start to think about closing that gap up to the cars ahead. Meanwhile, keeping an eye behind to see whether he's being caught by David Godge. David's got a little bit more to think about because he's got Vittor and Mead behind him. Mead a little bit closer than Vittor, of course. But yeah, that is the story in the top 10. There's a bit of a collision ahead for one of the backmarkers having some trouble, I think.
I didn't see, but Vittor and Azar quite close maybe. Vittor had a better exit out of the final chicane. That gap has become about 0.8 of a second at the line. Azar is certainly one of the top contenders for most improved from qualifying. Oh, that's unbelievably wide from Vittor. And here comes Azar again.
Yep, so Azar realising probably after he's been told potentially by someone watching the broadcast that his charge is better than everyone else pretty much, and he can afford to use a little bit more energy than he is. And that is P7 now confirmed on our timing tower. Williams is also going for Vittor side by side into the bus stop. This can't go well. Oh, and Williams having to back out of it. And yeah, that is Paolo. Sorry, no, Vittor through.
Yeah, the I initials, Imran and Isaac, certainly looking good here in these last couple of laps. So we'll see. Oh, Vittor is slowing down before the hairpin quite early, and Williams on the outside is just trying to get that undercut, but it's not going to work with these road super tires, and you'll have to try again.
Certainly is. At the front, Paolo Kangas is, he is doing pretty well compared to Nico Pantola, who's down to 45, Owen. He's got the least charge of anyone at the front. Carolus Montejutis is also doing well. And Imran Azar still there above half charge. He can afford to push. He can afford to close the gap now to Jared Mead and David Godge.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity, really. If he can make these gains, it can make all the difference. Yeah, Carolus Montejutis is definitely on his own here. He's too far away from the top 3, but he's cleared of everyone behind him. So everything is in his control as of right now. He can follow his destiny the way he can. But we'll see if anything else can happen in these final 18 minutes or so. But as of right now, he can just do his own thing.
Yeah, he can indeed. We'll catch up with those graphics later on. And we have some movement further back. Rosa versus Lucidi into turn number 1. Lucidi going very sideways. Lucidi struggling with hot tyre temperatures. And that will be a nice sight for Martin Capel, who we very handily ride on board with now as he heads into the infield section. Following Lucidi, the race green car. Doing a lot of coasting is Martin Capel. Currently down in 15th place. Hoping for a top 10, no doubt, to join his Savage Simsports teammate, Jared Mead. And, oh goodness me, Lucidi struggling there, Owen, with those rear tyres.
Yeah, more contests up and down the grid. Amarillo Henrique in the blue there is also a contender for these positions ahead. Lucidi is just trying to hang on in there for a bit longer with that tyre temperature the way it is. He uses all the apex on the inside as he can, but now the leaders have more traffic to come. That's Riera, excuse me.
Yeah, they've got this is for position ahead. Those two down in P19 and 20. So here comes Jimmy in the rear view mirror. Is he going to go for an opportunistic send up the inside? One of the back markers lets him through.
Yes, he is. That's Burton on the inside. Moreira gives way, and Oleg Grigorgevs as well. There we go. Jimmy has taken the lead away.
Yeah, I guess Powley was going to be going a little bit tentative in there, and Jimmy thought, well, I'm just going to catch him napping. Powley Pelskanga squeezed him down to the apex and did not want to let him through at all. But Jimmy thought, no, I'm going for this, stuck his nose in, pushed it through, and he's away in the lead. Powley Pelskangas will be dropping down on our timing tower now. There he goes. Jimmy Vertinen leads the race.
Yeah, so the presence of back markers has changed the destiny of the race in Vertinen's favour, but there's still enough time for Powley to regain that lead. But yeah, Sidus be cursing that unforeseen luck that has cost them the lead and second place for Patola. In that case, he was second before the back marker spun in front of them. So we'll see what can happen next now. Jimmy very high onto the outside curbs there at the bus stop, but he was able to catch it.
Yeah, sliding a lot with those tyres. We've got Hornos and Unzal having a battle, or is that battle over? It is already. Unzal was going for a move on Hornos, but messed up his brakes and has to find another way past our Spanish born-to-race driver. Jimmy Vertinen, aggressive stuff, but sooner or later he has to be aggressive. He's got to start pulling a gap if he wants to have track position at the end, of course. Powley Pelskangas needs to respond. We'll get an update on the charge levels of these guys in a few moments' time to see how this little fight has affected their prospects of finishing the race. We think they're going to be okay. Further down, Martin Capel might be having a look at the Chidione.
Indeed. Yeah, we commented on the CD's dilemma with the tyres previously. Capel is just playing a very patient game here. If you can keep Enrique behind as well, that's even better. Yeah, he's actually not aced that apex at all. So I'd be a bit disappointed. That was an opportunity there, Lashidi going high at the bus stop. Yeah, he still hasn't managed to give his rear temperature on the right side that little bit of a break it needs. Yeah, so Henrique might be able to push for the inside line. No, Capel blocks it. We've got Rosa in the pits.
10 or 11 laps left, we're hearing from race control, which means as we look at our charge graphics, the lead three should be okay. Nico Patola might be starting to wince a little bit at his charge level, 34 compared to the rather impressive 37, or rather 36.5 now that Jimmy Vertinen's got. He's managed to save an entire percent of charge ahead of Powley Pelskangas, although Powley was the unfortunate one to be leading the train at the beginning of the race and had to punch the hole in the air for Nico and Jimmy to follow. But yeah, Nico, surprisingly, he hasn't managed to do as much saving. So that is an interesting one, Owen.
Yeah, I wonder how that's come to be. So we'll see them. And there we go. That's Martin getting through against Lashidi. There you go. That's handy enough. He can hopefully improve that corner entry and make sure he breaks away now that he is in 13th. So maybe Jimmy's done a bit more lifting because Powley is also closing in now. It was over second at the line, but into sector 1 the gap will surely come down. It's actually 0.3 of a second. Significant change. There it is, 0.3 of a second on your cameras. So maybe that was a tactic from Vertinen just to make sure he saves even more energy and make life even more frustrating for the Sidus pair. So he's going to brake into the hairpin right, holding that apex and letting the rear tires swing to get that little bit of a boost out of the corner. So there we go. This battle will carry on to the very end.
A great camera angle, this, seeing the driver working hard. And Powley's in a good spot here now. He gets to follow Jimmy, who is at the lead. He's punching a hole in the air for Powley, and now Nico behind. So is this a tactic from Sidus to try and let Jimmy say, you know, Jimmy wants the lead, let's let Jimmy have the lead for a bit, try and keep up and save some fuel for the end, try and get on a par with him so that they can fight with equal equipment. Jimmy lifting very, very early. Will Powley be tempted to go for a send? Yes, he will.
Yeah.
So, yeah, scrub what I just said. The game is on.
So perhaps Jimmy was thinking just the same, Pete. He didn't want to be giving that aerodynamic boost to the drivers behind, and he's allowed Pauli, well, allowed in inverted commas, allowed him into the lead for this final stretch of the race. Yeah, Nico Patola, he would be desperate to put Burton back in his place where they started. It was Patola on pole, if you remember. So yeah, it's a crucial moment if Nico can find this gap and get second place.
Yeah, this is fascinating. It was fun watching this race last time out from behind the cameras, but actually commentating on it is very, very entertaining. We have Unsal just ahead of the leaders, and this is a battle in between him and Hornos. So Hornos is the Born to Race car just ahead of Unsal, and these two have been fighting pretty hard throughout the race, so they've got to be careful with the leaders coming through. We saw what happened with the leaders, and Unsal spins them very, very wise. He slams it in reverse and sacrifices his own rear end to stop the leaders having any issues. So that was a scary moment. Oh, goodness me.
I think, he was given the blue flag notice just in time, and that was a heroic piece of driving.
It was.
To save the top three from further inconvenience. But full hat tip there to Unsal. Well done.
Yeah, a trip to the medical centre for his neck after the race. Pauli Peltokangas has still got some traffic to deal with. Hornos has dispatched then with Unsal, who's in the wall, and Unsal now. Hornos now catching up to Lucidi, who's out of the way. That's one through. Is he going to go wide and let Vertanen through? This will be interesting. Yes, he is. Or is he? No, he's not. Contact between Vertanen and Hornos. Just not enough room left there for the leader coming through. And Pauli has an opportunity now to break away. Lucidi moves.
And Lorenzo is letting him through again. But, there you go. Now he's able to lift off for Nico. Big moments once again for the race leaders. After that will be Henrique and Capal are actually side by side. They will soon get the blue flag notices, but advantage goes to the number 20 of Henrique just before the race officials will tell them to get out of the way. So another crucial moment. And after them, I think our top three will have a bit more space before it's Victor Paolo who will be told to move over, but that'll be not for another little while.
Yeah, you could see how much Jimmy Vertanen was pushing going into the chicane. He was drifting it around, trying to keep up with Pauli Peltokangas. That's how much the slipstream means here, as we see Pauli now moving past Martin Capal, one of our back markers. We don't often say that to Martin Capal. Hasn't gelled maybe as well with the format. It has been a while since Martin's competed at the top level in LFS, but there we are, getting lapped by these guys. Jimmy now pulls ahead, and Henrique has got a little bit of a buffer to Martin now.
Yeah, Henrique's got to be looking in his mirrors. He's now going to see that Capal is left by Pantola in P3, so he can now move aside for Jimmy, but he has to merge inside again. Oh, Jimmy hits the wall.
Yeah, he did. He hit the inside wall and then hit the outside wall again. Henrique cannot possibly go for a return send. That would be awful. Nico now has to get past and does so, and that gives our lead three a little bit of breathing room before they arrive at the next set of cars, which is coming up shortly.
Yeah, but as far as Henrique was concerned, he didn't want to let Capal back through by inadvertently moving over for his gain, I suppose. So there you go. As far as Henrique is concerned, that was a success. And the top three can now push for the very last throng of the race, and we'll see if anything else can happen.
Indeed. As we have another look at our charge levels, Nico Pantola 17.5, Pauli Peltokangas 20, and Jimmy Vertanen a staggering 22.5. He can afford to use a bit more charge than he is currently. A reminder that we are running road super tyres here because the session was declared full wet by our race director, and therefore the drivers have to use road supers and not slicks for the entirety of the race. And that is why we see them slipping and sliding around a lot more than we did in round one. Jimmy Vertanen now, he's getting a little bit of pressure from Nico Pantola, but Nico, I reckon he's got to be careful, Owen. I don't know how much charge he thinks he needs till the end.
Yeah, if he's confident at these numbers, then that's certainly up to him, but Yeah, you can never tell. We don't know the precise percentage it takes to complete a lap around this circuit, but yeah, if we can, estimate it, I suppose. Yeah, he is a little bit on the bubble where he should be. The other drivers have a big advantage over him now. So is Nico just going to say, okay, third place is the best I can do, so I'll make sure I don't hit 0 and get myself excluded?
Yeah, we thought earlier on that MotoGPs might be able to close up and catch the top 3, but it turns out they're on a different level today. 25 seconds back to MotoGPs, who's having a very lonely race here. 10 seconds ahead of David Godge and Jared Mead and company, and some 25 now off the lead. So yeah, a bit of a lonely race for MotoGPs. But our top 3, they have put on a show once again, but there are different names involved this time. We've got no Sean Lee, we've got no Gabor. We just have Nico, Jimmy, and Pauli. And it is advantage to Pauli Peltikangas and Sidus ahead of our championship leader and reigning champion of E-Challenge, Jimmy Vertinen.
Yeah, they have. They've got the number 1 spot back for the moment. Yeah, they're actually closing in on more back markers. It's going to be Rosa and number 41. That's Wolfgang's Goodies. So they'll be lapped again by the leaders very soon. So we've just got to avoid these drivers coming together at the wrong time. There's a warning for Hornos for what was it? Causing an avoidable incident under blue flags. That's a warning. Nothing more than that. But yeah, if anything else occurs from Hornos, he will be forced to take a penalty.
We have had 41-ish minutes of green flag running here, which is remarkable for South City, and hopefully I haven't jinxed it by saying that, but it does look unlikely now at this point that we're going to have anything in the last 4 minutes, unless somebody runs out of charge on the racing line. Nobody currently at risk of running out of charge anytime soon, although Lucidi, once again, might want to reassess his efficient driving techniques ahead of next race, because he's struggling down in P17 with a measly 12% of charge left. Will it be enough? Well, we're going to find out soon enough, and that's the great thing about E-Challenge. It's a numbers game, and you still have to be quick in order to win. Ali Peltikangas battling his way through more traffic, Owen, and with 4 minutes to go now on the clock, he is almost all set for the win.
Yeah, the chat are saying about 4.8% charge is required to put in a flat-out lap time around here. So really, it should be 4.5% a lap you should be using if you're doing your conservation work properly, and then you can really turn it down to make sure you make it to the end if you've got your track position sealed, as you can see it. So we're estimating a 32 or 33 laps race distance.
Yeah, now that's interesting, because race control aren't 100% sure how many laps they've got left, because that's how close to the cusp the top 2 are. As we see, Pauli Peltikangas getting Jimmy Vertinen, and we've just had Jonathan Palmer, the race director, in our ear saying it's right on the edge. So Pauli and Jimmy, they have this race in the palm of their hands. Nico might suffer as a result as he drops back with only 9% charge. Is he going to be upset if he? Well, of course he's going to be upset, but he might be upset if he misses out on the podium here.
Yeah, they're almost rubber banding themselves into danger, because if they do go too quickly and they put another lap on the board, it risks them running out of energy. Maybe other drivers will be cursing their luck at the fact they're on the lead lap and they mightn't have been serving their or conserving as much. So you can really see now, I sense immediate danger for Pantola there. 8% charge remaining, and if these drivers go an extra lap, then he'll be the first to drop off from our top 10.
Yeah, we're watching the rear view of Pauli Peltikangas' car, and Owen, I think it's fair to say these guys are now going flat out. No recharging happening. These guys are battling wheel to wheel. This is great stuff. There is still a bit of conserving going on as they do the regen down towards the hairpin, so they're not fully confident. Jimmy Vertinen, though, he's got way more charge than Pauli Peltikangas, so he is playing with his food. I like to use that phrase because here he goes.
He's gone blasting ahead into the lead.
Oh, wow.
Pauli has surely noticed that deficit in charge. Well, if he can't gain any back in time, Jimmy can surge to victory.
Yeah, this is how you do it, ladies and gents. With 9% in his tank, Pauli Peltikangas did not think he had enough to battle with Jimmy Vertinen, who blasts into the lead. And look at the gap already, nearly 2 seconds.
2 laps remaining. 2 laps remaining.
There we are, Jonathan Palmer confirming that we have 2 laps remaining, and that should be easily enough for Jimmy Vertinen. There we are. We have a lap timer, which is updated now, which actually says 3 laps to go, I believe. So I'm guessing we're going to get that changed, and we will see that updated shortly. There it is. 2 laps to go. Jimmy, he's pushing hard. He's bounced off quite a few walls on this lap, but he doesn't care. He's on his way to what should be victory at this rate. Pauli Peltikangas, he won't have to preserve anymore, but he's on the cusp. Nico, he is going to have to save like crazy, I think, Owen.
Yeah, definitely that is the case. Yeah, he's down to the final lap worth of charge. If those 4.8 calculations are 100% accurate. So yeah, I think Nico has to lift off, and Carlos Motogitis will notice this, and he'll go as hard as he can. But again, he only has 2% more charge. That can't be enough. Dawid Gotch there holds the fastest lap, so that might be a point of interest for Jimmy if he can. Yeah, so if Jimmy can put in the fastest lap, that'll be another.
There we go.
Later on final lap.
Yeah, he's got the final. He's got the fastest lap back. So there we go. Nico is coasting heavily now, so he's got to make it to the end without running out.
Yeah, the gap to Motojutis is halved. It's now down to only 9-ish seconds. So Carolis, if he can keep pushing, I'm sure he can actually. Carolis, even though he's only got 1% more charge, he might manage to get Nico Pintola, and that would change the podium dramatically. The car off ahead of Jimmy Vertinen, but we're okay so far. Jimmy Vertinen on the final lap, and he's got some traffic to deal with. That won't be comfortable, but yeah, he's got a gap now to Pauli Peltikangas. Pauli should be okay on charge to the end of the lap, but look, 3 seconds now for the podium battle between Motojutis and Nico. Is it? No, it's gone up slightly now, I believe. Yes, to 15. So a bit wrong on my numbers there. Let's focus on our leader, Owen, as he comes around the final corners.
Yeah, so this is virtuoso performance from Vertinen, 2 out of 2, and his title defense almost a perfect deal. So he can just get this final complex behind him. That's Lucidio, I think, in the pits for running out of charge. He won't be able to make it to the end, but there we go. Across the line shall be number 1, Jimmy Vertinen. Fantastic drive there. Putting in, it's actually a tied fastest lap with Pauli. So fantastic to see that, a tied fastest lap. Now this is Nico Pintola trying to make it to the end. He's got someone to move out of the way. It's Unsal, but Unsal's going to be quicker since he has more charge remaining. Unfortunately, Vitautas, or Carlos, Carlos is too far behind to really catch up, and that's going to be 4th place for Motojutis.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out in the end. Motojutis just didn't have the pace or the confidence on his charge going through the race, and there we are. He finishes in P4. Godge in P5, a well-earned P5. We ride on board then, looking back at the helmet of Jimmy Vertinen for Master Race Car. Our winner today. Superb effort once again, making it 2 from 2. It could have gone wrong. There were a few hairy moments going on throughout the race with backmarkers, and also a big send on Pauli Peltikangas into the hairpin. The last cars are Ronnie and Jeff and Jacob teammates. They're currently battling, and I believe they're going to come up to the start finish in a second.
Oh, Ronnie got loose on one of the curbs, but maybe Jeffin has to lift. No, I think it's fine. Jeffin will win this battle. Well done.
And that is the final 2 cars across the grid, across the line, sorry, and that means we can confirm our final classifying order for the race. In the lead, making it 2 from 2, finishing in 50 minutes on a green race. I can't believe I'm saying that, a green race, compared to the race we had last time out. That was very clean in the end. 50 minutes, 0.18 for Jimmy Vertinen, making it 2 for 2 for Master Race Car and himself. Then it's the Sidus duo of Pauli Peltikangas and Nika Pantola. Just off the podium, Carolus Montadjutis, David Godge, Jared Mead, Isaac Williams, Imran Azar, Vitor Jakub, Krompus, Paolo Henrique Capal, Unsal, Hornos Moreira, 2 Grigorievs, and Rosa round out the top 20.
On our second page, the drivers that are either 2 laps down or didn't make the finish. We've got Gudis in 21st, Lucidi 22nd, but then DNFs for Malinovsky. Fernandez was black flagged. Zanella, Fabri, and Saitani.
Thank you very much, Owen. And there we see Jimmy, prompt as ever. He's made it to the podium. I wonder whether the rescue cars need to be scrambled. Yes, Chris McElroy has been scrambled from our ears, Owen, because he has had to man a rescue car. We have 6 rescue cars out on the track to try and clear up the debris, the stranded e-challenges we've got around the track. Two of which need to be pushed onto the podium. Jimmy Verton not only won the race, he had enough charge to get himself onto the podium. So that shows you what level he was driving at. That is Jimmy Verton, and we are looking at there our winner for today. So we need to twiddle our thumbs a little bit as our New Dimension Racing and Master Race car rescue cars go around the track, pushing what will be Pauli Peltikangas and Nika Pantola, among others, to their place. Owen, that was a fabulous race. I wonder whether we're going to get any interviews from our drivers.
Yeah, we'll keep our options open for drivers who would like to be interviewed. Yeah, that was the tactical supremacy there from Jimmy Vertonen to make sure he could boost past for the race win when he needed to. He held off when he also had the Sidus cars in front of him. And then even when he got into second place and it was a dilemma having those teammates in between him, he was still able to follow his strategy, and the victory belongs to him.
Yeah, they could have made this podium a little bit easier to get onto for the cars. As you can see, we have a car moving its way around. Anyway, that is not one of our podiums. I think that is Carolus Montadjutis, is it not?
Yeah, that is Carolus, correct.
On the screen, we have the calendar for the remaining round. On February the 20th, we will be heading to the New York E-Prix circuit replica, which has moved to the layout square, the new layout area in Live for Speed S3, suitable for all of our needs for creating big tracks. Oh, and here we are in synchronization. How beautiful is that?
That's fantastic.
Fantastic. The 2 Sidus cars pushed into position in synchronization. That was wonderful. Congrats to NDR and MRC for that. That was great. That rounds out our podium, Owen. And what a podium it is.
Yeah, fine example of the driving today. Pauli, indeed, I did say, just as he crossed the line, he got the equal fastest lap. So on another day, we could be talking about Peltikangas' victory, but he was able to basically find that gap. Just unfortunately, he was allowed, or he wasn't able to hang on to the win. But yeah, it was just 1 or 2 moments that didn't go his way.
Well, Owen, that brings to a close what has been a fantastic evening of racing. I thoroughly enjoyed commentating that, and I hope to see Travis and Tom back, and I hope Tom's getting better and able to join us in a couple of weeks' time for the finale of E-Challenge 2022. We've thoroughly enjoyed this series, and we hope you can join us again for it on February 20th. We are going to hang around for a couple of moments to see whether we can get any interviews from our drivers. We do like having a word with them. But again, we need to thank the sanctioning body, New Dimension Racing, for doing a great job, and also our organisers and promoters, Master Race Car, who have been doing an excellent job organising series for us and inviting us along to do the coverage. It's always been fun to do these, and we hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please consider following us on Twitch or subscribing to our channel on YouTube. We really appreciate your support and following. You can check us out on social media too, and our website at simbroadcasts.tv for when we're going live. And we have some exciting events coming up on our channel soon too. Oh, Owen, it was a good evening. Give me your highlights.
Yeah, the highlights would certainly be Vertonen, Peltikangas, and Pantola, the top 3. going at it. I was impressed by Gotch, Williams, Azar in the top 10 as well. They were very good. Obviously, there were other battles. We saw Kapal and Unsal doing their best. I liked the Super Pole that was under wet conditions that no one expected. So that gave certainly a different outlook to that session than we would have expected. And then just unfortunately the drivers that couldn't quite make it to the end, but that was nevertheless memorable as well.
Now, as far as I know, there was only scheduled to be one wet session throughout the season, but who knows what will happen in round 3? Will we get dry running or will we get wet? I think it's going to be dry. We will have to wait and see what happens at the New York E-Prix circuit. Of course, in 2020, I believe it was, the then E-Challenge using the FOX in LFS, the Formula XR, was used at the New York E-Prix circuit on the autocross area, which is slightly different to what's going to be happening this time out. We're going to be using it at the layout square. It doesn't look as though we're going to get any interviews today, which is a little bit sad. But yep, the drivers have had a fun time, and we'll leave them to their own thoughts. Owen, thanks a lot for joining me in the commentary box. It was great. And again, thanks to Chris in our ears, feeding us all the information about what's going out on track. And from myself, Peter Butcher, it's been fun, and we hope to see you next time. From all of us here at Sim Broadcasts, you have a great evening, and we will see you next time. Oh, in fact, before we go, I feel like this has prompted some people to come for an interview. Let's have a word with Carolis just before we head off air. Carolis, congrats. P4 in the end. What did you think your chances were on catching up to our lead 3?
0.
Okay, well that answers that question.
Yeah.
You got a good P4 though. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, I am happy with it. I'm actually happy that it was a wet race. I don't think I would have gotten P4 on dry. I was struggling to keep the pace up and conserve fuel. But it's quite a lot easier with wets because the average pace has to be slower, and well, there's more room for error.
We noticed the top guys, they were lifting and coasting very early on all of the straights, so you still had to save quite a lot here. How much difference did those road tyres make to the slicks?
In what perspective? In drivability, in saving fuel?
Saving.
The thing is, on slicks you have so much grip, it's sort of psychologically hard to save because you want to push. You know your tires can go much faster, but that wastes charge. So I think it's the psychological barrier that makes it harder.
That's interesting to hear. Just as well, we stuck around because we have got Jimmy Vertman queuing up, but we'll stay with you for one more question, Carolis. What do you make of the new E-Challenge format and Live for Speed with the mods, and obviously having an electric Formula E inspired car, and as well as now Regen, which was introduced just before the first round? What do you make of it all?
Oh, I love it. It brings another variable. It's not absolute pace that matters here. You can be slower and still do good. I remember I invited my friend for a race sometime back when we were testing the waters with Fox, the race where we had to go with 100% fuel on Fox, and it was not enough if you went full throttle. So that was his very first race, and in LFS at all and Live for Speed, and he would have done decently well considering it was just first time, so that's nice.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for answering our questions. Owen, any questions for Carolis?
I suppose, Carlos, for the final round in New York, do you have any plans that might be able to get you on the podium?
When will it be? Is it gonna be on 20th?
February 20th.
Yeah, February 20th.
I am not 100% if I'm gonna be able to participate in, so hard to say.
That's a shame. Would be good to see some interesting stuff going on there. Anyway, thank you, Carolis. You provided plenty of entertainment today, along with everybody else. Congrats, P4. Good result.
Thank you.
See you later. Carolis Montejusis there for Last Lap Motorsports. Let's get a word in with our provisional winner, I guess. Jimmy Vertman, congrats.
Thank you.
That was awesome. 2 from 2. but a very, very different story today with the wet running. We saw you take a pretty big clout into the barrier during the Super Pole. That must have been a bit of an eye-opener when you didn't manage to secure a front row.
Well, I think I wasn't the only one who didn't practice wet qualifying, so that was the reason.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I bet everybody else in the server was, panicked a little bit when they saw the top 6 falling off the road during qualifying and thinking, "Oh goodness me, what am I going to be able to manage when I get on the track for the race?" Tell us about your race and compare it to last time out when you had slicks.
Well, I had practiced this wet race myself, so I had a little bit experience there, and well, I just followed the 2 Sidus guys pretty much, and it was great race, so close the whole duration with my countrymen.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch. You were sat behind Nico Pantola and Pali Partakangas for quite a way, and then about halfway through, you decided that you were going to take over the lead. Now, what were you holding back to begin with, or did you was that to save energy? What was the story there?
I estimated the remaining laps with my head and decided to go for it.
So you were very sure very early, but then you dropped back again towards the end, and then about 2 laps or 3 laps to go, you absolutely disappeared on Pauli. You had so much more charge, about 3% more in hand than those guys behind, and that's when you went for the second time.
Yeah, I think I reserved the charge very well during the race. I wasn't leading. I think it's a bit easier to save when you're behind someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Owen, any questions?
No, I think you covered everything there, Pete.
I'll steal a question you had from before then. New York E-Prix circuit, you've won there before, but it was in a Fox. What do you think your chances are in the E-Challenger?
Yeah, it was in a Fox and a different surface, so it's gonna be a different race, but win is my goal.
Of course, the win is your goal. You're going to retain the lead and open up the lead in the championship. Very well done for that. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time at the New York E-Prix circuit to try and defend your championship crown, which is going well so far, it's safe to say.
Thank you. I will try.
Congrats, Jimmy. It was great to watch. We love this new format here on the channel, and we look forward to the next one. See you in a bit.
See ya.
Jimmy Verton there, Owen. Good that we got a couple of interviews just in the nick of time as well, because we were just about to go off air. So it's just as well we hung around for a few more minutes to get a chat with Carolus Montejutis for Last Lap Motorsports and Jimmy Verton, our championship leader. Owen, I will take this opportunity to sign off now. Thank you very much for joining me, and let's have a break. That was a pretty great race. 2 weeks to go before the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and get well soon, Tom.
Yeah, we hope Tom gets well soon and can get back on the microphone for the final, and we hope Travis can be there too. From all of us here at Sim Broadcasts, all of you, have a great evening. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.